The crystal champagne flute trembled slightly in my hand as I watched my mother-in-law tap her designer stiletto against her own glass. The sound rang through the penthouse party like a death knell. My name is Linda, and I've spent 12 years perfecting the art of the polite smile. Tonight would be my masterpiece. To my brilliant son, Max. Jacqueline's voice carried across the room of 50-something guests, all gathered to celebrate my husband's promotion to senior partner. You've made the Lynch name proud, darling. I took a measured sip of champagne, remembering all the late nights I'd spent editing his proposals, the countless dinners I'd hosted to help him network, the 3 relocations I'd endured for his career advancement. None of that existed in Jacqueline's carefully curated reality. And because every rising star needs his sanctuary, she continued, her red lips curving into what could almost pass for warmth, I've purchased you a little something extra. She gestured to her assistant, who handed Max an envelope tied with a silk ribbon. The room held its collective breath. I didn't. I knew what was coming. A luxury condo in the heart of downtown, Jacqueline announced, her voice dripping with satisfaction. For those late nights at the office, of course. She winked, and several guests chuckled. Every successful man needs his space. Max's face lit up as he pulled out the glossy photos. Mother, this is incredible. I felt Ava, my sister, squeeze my arm. She'd flown in specifically for this party, and now I watched understanding dawn in her eyes. Linda, she whispered, tell me you're not just going to... My phone buzzed in my clutch. I excused myself, slipping away from the crowd, gathering around Max and his mother. In the quiet of the powder room, I read the message from my attorney. Wire transfer confirmed. Property closes tomorrow at 9 a.m. Congratulations on your purchase, Mrs. Palmer. I touched up my lipstick, adjusting my emerald green dress, the one Jacqueline had once called trying too hard. When I returned to the party, Max was already deep in conversation with Marley, his young coordinator, their heads bent close together over the condo photos. Linda, darling, Jacqueline's voice cut through the crowd. Come see what Max will be doing with his new bachelor pad, though perhaps we should call it his executive suite. Sounds more appropriate. She laughed, crystal and sharp. I approached, champagne in hand. It's beautiful, Jacqueline. The Morrison building, isn't it? Penthouse suite? Why, yes. She looked surprised, I knew. You've seen it? Oh, I'm quite familiar with the property. I smiled, thinking of the paperwork sitting in my lawyer's office. In fact, I had my eye on it myself. You? Jacqueline's perfectly shaped eyebrows arched. Whatever for? Your little hobby business hardly requires a downtown office. Mother, Max warned, finally looking up from his conversation with Marley. Oh, I'm not offended, I said lightly, taking another sip of champagne. Though I should mention the previous owner, Mr. Harrison. Lovely man, very particular about who he sells to. Did you meet him during the negotiations? Jacqueline waved her hand dismissively. My attorney handled everything. The deal is done. My phone buzzed again. Another message from my lawyer. Previous owner confirms. Your offer takes precedence. Mrs. Lynch's wire transfer will be returned Monday. Well, I raised my glass, meeting Jacqueline's eyes. Here's to new beginnings. The party continued around us, a swirl of congratulations and corporate small talk. I watched Max work the room, stopping occasionally to share knowing looks with Marley. I watched Jacqueline hold court among her social circle, probably already planning how to redecorate her son's new love nest. Neither of them noticed when I slipped away early, citing a headache. Neither of them knew about the meetings I'd had with Mr. Harrison, about the shell company I'd created, about the wire transfer that had cleared hours before Jacqueline's. Neither of them had ever bothered to notice much about me at all. As my car pulled away from the curb, I got one final message. Deed will be recorded first thing tomorrow. The Morrison Building, Penthouse B, will be officially yours at 9:01 a.m. I leaned back against the leather seat, finally allowing myself a real smile. 12 years of being underestimated, of being the good wife, the quiet daughter-in-law, the woman with the cute little hobby business. It had all led to this moment. Tomorrow morning, Jacqueline Lynch would learn what it felt like to be blindsided, and that would only be the beginning. "It's just a phase, dear," Jacqueline had said 3 years ago, patting my hand at Sunday brunch. "All wives go through this. Need to feel productive. Max tells me you're playing with some sort of recycling app." I remembered staring into my mimosa, wondering if she'd ever actually asked what my company did. We'd already secured 2 patents by then. "Linda?" Otis's voice pulled me back to the present. We sat in his downtown office, watching the morning traffic 20 stories below. "The transfer cleared. It's done." I checked my watch. 9:15 a.m. "Has she found out yet?" He smiled, sliding a folder across his desk. "Mr. Harrison's assistant just texted. Jacqueline's lawyer showed up at 9 sharp with the paperwork. Harrison handed them your fully executed deed instead. Apparently, the lawyer turned 3 shades of purple." "Good." I opened the folder, running my fingers over the deed. "And the shell company?" "Airtight. Linda Palmer LLC is officially a real estate holding company. Nothing connects it to your tech firm." He leaned back. "Though that might not matter much longer, given yesterday's valuation." My phone buzzed. Ava. "DEFCON 1. Jackie's having a meltdown. Called Max home from work." "You know," Otis said, watching me read the message, "when we were in law school together, I never pegged you as the revenge type." "This isn't revenge," I replied, standing to look out the window. "This is correction." My phone rang. Max. I let it go to voicemail. "Remember the investor meeting last month?" I asked Otis. "When Isaias presented our carbon capture technology?" "Hard to forget." The room went dead silent when he finished the demonstration. "Jacqueline was having lunch at the same restaurant. Saw me through the window. Know what she did?" I turned to face him. She waved and mouthed, "Have fun with your little project," while I was signing a $100 million contract. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Marley. "Max is worried sick. Please call him back. This isn't funny." Otis raised an eyebrow at my laugh. "What's next?" "Now? I go to work, like I do every day." I gathered my things. The difference is, today, everyone knows exactly what I've been working on. The elevator ride to my office took exactly 90 seconds. In that time, I received 3 more texts from Max and 1 from Jacqueline herself. "We need to talk. Immediately." I stepped into our office suite, where Isaias was already commanding attention in the main conference room. Through the glass walls, I watched him gesture at projection screens showing our latest test results. "Linda," he waved me in. Perfect timing. The EPA representatives have questions about implementation. For the next 2 hours, I did what I'd always done: led meetings, made decisions, built the future. The only difference was that today, no one was calling it a hobby. My assistant knocked during a brief break. "Mrs. Lynch is in the lobby. She's quite insistent. Tell her I'm in meetings all day. She's welcome to schedule time through proper channels." I turned back to my notes, then added, "Oh, and Sarah, make sure security has her photo." Around noon, Ava brought lunch. "Max is losing it," she said, unpacking sandwiches. "Jackie's convinced you've lost your mind from stress or something. They can't process that you actually outmaneuvered them." 10 years, I said quietly. 10 years of Christmas dinners where she asked Max when he'd let me go back to work, as if I wasn't already building something bigger than their whole family fortune. Speaking of which, Ava pulled out her tablet, showing me a news alert. Our company's latest press release had hit the wire. The stock was already up 12%. My phone lit up. Max again. We need to talk. Mother is beside herself. What are you trying to prove? I typed back. Nothing to prove. Already proved it. Check the morning business news. Ava watched me put the phone down. You know this is just the beginning, right? Jackie won't let this go. Good, I said, turning back to my lunch. Because neither will I. The afternoon brought a parade of calls from family friends and business associates, all suddenly very interested in my little company. I let them all go to voicemail. At 5:30, Isaiah knocked on my office door. The Reuters interview went well, but there's something else. He handed me a tablet. You might want to see this. It was a financial news site. The headline read, Tech Startups Breakthrough Sends Shares Soaring. CEO Linda Palmer's net worth exceeds 300 million. Below it was a comment from an anonymous source. This must be particularly satisfying for Mrs. Palmer, whose mother-in-law, Jacqueline Lynch, famously dismissed the company as a hobby project just last month. I handed the tablet back to Isaiah. Interesting. I wonder who could have leaked that quote. He grinned. I wonder indeed. He's sleeping with her, you know. Ava stirred her coffee, watching my face carefully across the breakfast table. Marley, they're not even trying to hide it anymore. I know. I buttered my toast with precise strokes. Have known for months. And you're just okay with that? The morning sun streamed through my kitchen windows, catching the diamond on my wedding ring. 10 years of marriage crystallized in a single stone that suddenly felt more like a shackle than a symbol. What I'm not okay with, I said, is how Jacqueline orchestrated it. Ava's spoon clattered against her cup. What? 3 months ago, I overheard her on the phone with HR. She specifically requested Marley be assigned to Max's team. I pulled out my phone, playing a recording. Jacqueline's voice filled the kitchen. The girl's perfect, young, ambitious, and most importantly, nothing like his wife. Jesus, Ava whispered. How did you get that? Cassandra sent it to me. Apparently, even family lawyers have limits to what they'll enable. My phone buzzed. Speaking of devils, it was Jacqueline. Linda, dear, we simply must clear the air. Join us for dinner tonight. The club at 7. I typed back. Can't. Board meeting prep. Her response was immediate. This isn't a request. Family matters take precedence over your current activities. Your son's affair or your failed property grab? Which family matter are we discussing? 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally. You've changed, Linda. No, Jacqueline, you just never knew me. I showed Ava the exchange. She whistled low. You know she's going to make your life hell now. Let her try. I stood, clearing our plates. She's already played her best cards. The doorbell rang. Max stood there, looking exhausted in his rumpled suit. We need to talk. About Marley? I asked, letting him in. Or about how your mother tried to buy you a love nest with family shares she didn't have permission to sell? He froze. What are you talking about? Oh, didn't Mommy tell you? I smiled, sweet as arsenic. She liquidated restricted stock to buy that condo, stock that required board approval to sell, stock that's now effectively under my control. That's impossible, he stammered. Mother would never. Check with your family's accountant, Ava cut in. The paperwork's all there. Max sank onto my couch, head in his hands. Linda, whatever you think is happening with Marley. Stop. I held up my hand. I don't care about Marley. What I care about is 12 years of being treated like an accessory in my own marriage. Your mother orchestrated this affair the same way she's orchestrated everything else, to maintain control. That's ridiculous, he snapped. Mother only wants what's best for me. For you? I laughed. Max, she doesn't even know who you are. She built you like a doll, and you let her. My phone rang. Isaiah. Linda, turn on CNBC. Now. We gathered around the TV as the financial news anchor spoke. Unprecedented breakthrough in carbon capture technology. Sources say major oil companies are already in bidding wars for licensing rights. Stock is up 180% since market open. Max stared at the screen, then at me. This is what you've been working on? All those nights you were playing entrepreneur? While you were playing house with Marley? Yes. The color drained from his face. Linda, we can fix this. Whatever Mother did. Can't be fixed, I finished. But it can be corrected. Starting with the family company shares she illegally sold. You'll destroy everything, he whispered. No, Max. I'm building something. For the first time in our marriage, I'm putting myself first. The fact that it terrifies you and your mother, that's just karma doing its job. He stood, straightening his jacket with shaking hands. Mother was right. Success has changed you. Success didn't change me, Max. It revealed me. Now get out of my house. After he left, Ava hugged me tight. You okay? My phone buzzed again. Another message from Jacqueline. You've made your point. Name your price. I showed Ava the message. She still thinks this is a negotiation. Isn't it? No. I walked to the window, watching Max's car pull away. This is a reckoning. Another text came through, this time from Cassandra. Jacqueline's asking about your company's investors. She's planning something. I smiled, thinking of the documents in my safe. Let her plan. I've got 12 years of receipts, and I'm just getting started. Linda? Ava's voice was quiet. What exactly did you mean about those family shares? I turned to face her, feeling the weight of the chess pieces finally shifting in my favor. It means, dear sister, that I now own 15% of Lynch Industries, and tomorrow the board meets to vote on new leadership. 3 million, Mr. Harrison had said, leaning back in his leather chair 2 weeks ago. That's what she offered. Lowballed me, actually. Said it was market rate for the area. 4 million, I'd countered, sliding the proof of funds across his desk. Cash, immediate close. Now, watching Jacqueline storm into my office unannounced, I remembered his satisfied smile when he'd accepted. You think you're so clever, she spat, dropping her designer bag on my desk. Using your tech money to buy into our family legacy? I didn't look up from my laptop. Security will be here in 30 seconds. Make it count. The board won't stand for this. They know you're just a vindictive... Actually, Otis interrupted, walking in with a folder. The board is quite interested in Linda's carbon capture technology, especially since their refineries are facing massive EPA fines. Jacqueline's perfectly lined lips trembled. Who are you? Otis Myers, Linda's attorney and longtime friend. Also, the person who helped structure the share purchase you accidentally facilitated. My phone buzzed. Marley. She's probably bleeding money doing this. It'll blow over soon. I showed the message to Jacqueline. Your son's girlfriend seems confused about my financial situation. Wonder where she got that idea. Security appeared at the door. Jacqueline straightened her spine, clutching her bag. This isn't over. You're right, I agreed. The board meeting's tomorrow. After she left, Otis whistled low. You enjoyed that. Not as much as I'll enjoy tomorrow. I pulled up an email. Look what Cassandra sent me. He read it, eyes widening. Jacqueline's been selling company secrets to competitors. Does Max know? Max doesn't know much of anything that doesn't come from his mother's mouth. I stood, walking to the window. But the board will know everything by noon tomorrow. My phone rang. Ava. You need to see this. Marley just posted on Instagram. I pulled up the app. There she was, posing in front of the Morrison building. Caption, New office views coming soon. Da blessed na work perks. Bold move, Otis commented, reading over my shoulder. Stupid move, I corrected, dialing a number. Hello, HR? This is Linda Palmer. I'd like to report a conflict of interest. That evening, I met Isaias at a quiet bar downtown. He slid a tablet across the table. Final numbers are in. We're not just disrupting the market, we're revolutionizing it. And the Lynch Industries connection? Their refineries are perfect test sites for our technology. He grinned. The board would be crazy not to partner with us. My phone lit up with a text from Max. Mother says you're trying to take over the company. This has to stop. I showed Isaias the message. He laughed. He still doesn't get it, does he? Neither does Jacqueline. I sipped my wine. She thinks this is about money or revenge. Isn't it? No. I pulled out a folder. It's about truth. Like these emails showing how she's been selling company information. Or these records of her manipulating board votes. Or this proof that she's been embezzling funds for years. Isaias's eyes widened. How long have you had this? Long enough. I learned from Jacqueline. Patience is everything. My phone buzzed again. Cassandra. Jacqueline's called an emergency board meeting for 8 a.m. She's trying to get ahead of you. I smiled, remembering Mr. Harrison's words when he'd chosen my offer over Jacqueline's. Sometimes, Mrs. Palmer, money isn't the most valuable currency. Sometimes it's the satisfaction of choosing the right side of history. Send it, I told Isaias. All of it. To every board member. He pulled out his laptop. The whole dossier? Everything. Let them sleep on it before tomorrow's meeting. As the files sent, my phone lit up one last time. Marley again, but this message was clearly meant for Max. Don't worry, baby. Once your mom handles her tomorrow, everything will go back to normal. I forwarded the message to HR, then turned to Isaias. Want to watch a dynasty crumble tomorrow? Wouldn't miss it. He raised his glass. To the woman they should have never underestimated. Later that night, alone in my home office, I opened my safe and pulled out one final document. The original partnership agreement for Lynch Industries, signed 50 years ago. The one Jacqueline thought she'd destroyed. The one that proved the company's true ownership structure. The one that would change everything tomorrow. My phone buzzed one final time. Ava. You sure about this? Once you do this, there's no going back. I typed back. Some bridges aren't meant to be crossed again. They're meant to burn. The Lynch Industries boardroom fell silent as I walked in at 7:55 a.m. 12 pairs of eyes followed me to my seat, all except Jacqueline's, who was furiously whispering to Max. Mrs. Palmer, the board chairman cleared his throat. We weren't expecting. As a major shareholder, I have every right to be here. I placed the original partnership agreement on the table, especially given what you all received last night. Jacqueline's head snapped up. Whatever fabrications she sent you are extensively documented, a board member interrupted, holding up his tablet, including the proof of insider trading. Max stood abruptly. This is ridiculous. My mother has given 40 years to this company. And taken quite a bit more, I replied, sliding copies of financial records across the table. Would anyone like to discuss the offshore accounts? The room erupted in murmurs. Jacqueline's face went from red to white. Order! The chairman called, banging his gavel. Mrs. Lynch, these allegations... My phone buzzed. A message from Marley. You think you're so smart. Wait until everyone knows how you really got your tech breakthrough. I smiled, pulling up an email on my tablet. Speaking of allegations, I have something else to share. I connected to the room's display screen. This is an email chain between Jacqueline and my husband's assistant, Marley, plotting to steal my company's intellectual property. Max froze. What? Oh yes, I continued, scrolling through the messages. Your mother hired Marley specifically to access my company data through your devices. Unfortunately for them, Isaias is rather good at cybersecurity. That's absurd, Jacqueline sputtered. I would never. The timestamps match your building's security logs, I cut in. And Marley's keycard access to Max's office after hours. Would you like me to continue? The chairman adjusted his glasses. Mrs. Palmer, what exactly are you seeking here? 2 things. I stood, walking to the front of the room. First, I want Jacqueline removed from all positions of authority in this company. Second, I want to propose a partnership between my tech firm and Lynch Industries that will revolutionize your environmental compliance. You can't do this, Jacqueline hissed. This company is our legacy. Actually, I pulled out the original partnership agreement. According to this document, which you thought you'd destroyed, the company belongs to its shareholders. And as of this morning, I'm the largest individual shareholder. Max's face crumpled. How? Your mother's been secretly selling shares to fund her schemes. I've been quietly buying them through various entities. Basic math, really. The boardroom doors burst open. Marley stormed in, waving her phone. I have proof that she... Security, I called. 2 guards appeared instantly. Please escort Ms. McBride out. And do collect her keycard. HR has some questions about her after-hours activities. As Marley was led away, I turned back to the board. Shall we discuss the future of Lynch Industries? I have some thoughts on carbon capture implementation. The next hour was a blur of presentations, questions, and signatures. Jacqueline sat silent, her perfect makeup unable to hide her crumbling facade. Max kept staring at his phone, probably reading the evidence I'd sent about Marley's corporate espionage. When the votes were tallied, it was unanimous. Jacqueline was out. The partnership with my company was in. And Max, well, Max would need to explain to HR why company resources were used for his affair. As the board members filed out, Jacqueline finally spoke. I raised him to aim higher than a bitter woman with something to prove. I gathered my papers calmly. You raised him to be exactly what he is, a man who couldn't tell the difference between strategy and loyalty. And now he's lost both. Linda? Max reached for my arm. We can fix this. I stepped back. No, we can't. But don't worry, you still have that condo. Oh, wait. I smiled. No, you don't have that either. My phone buzzed one last time. Otis. Stock's up 30% on partnership news. Congratulations, CEO. In the elevator down, Ava was waiting. How'd it go? Exactly as planned. I checked my watch. Ready for phase 2? The press is already gathering in the lobby, she grinned. Ready to meet the woman who just became the most powerful person in clean energy. The elevator doors opened to camera flashes and microphones. I stepped forward, Ava at my side, ready to tell the world about the future of sustainable technology. Behind me, I could hear Jacqueline's muffled sobs from the boardroom above. But I didn't look back. Some people spend their lives looking up at glass ceilings. I preferred to shatter them. Sign it. Max pushed the document across my kitchen island. Just sign the post-nup, and we can move past all this. I poured myself another cup of coffee, letting the morning silence stretch between us. 3 days had passed since the board meeting, and the business world was still buzzing about the Lynch Industries shake-up. Did your mother draft this? I picked up the papers, scanning the ridiculous terms. Or was it Marley? The grammar mistakes suggest the latter. Linda, please. He ran his hands through his dishevelled hair. Mother's not well. The doctors say the stress is exactly what she's earned. I set my mug down. How's the HR investigation going, by the way? His face darkened. You didn't have to destroy Marley's career. I didn't. She did that herself when she tried to steal corporate secrets. I slid the post-nup back to him. Speaking of which, check your email. He pulled out his phone, his face draining of colour as he read. These are my private messages. To Marley, about accessing my company's servers? Yes. I walked to the window. The FBI is particularly interested in the part where you offered to help her steal our technology. That's not... I didn't... You did. And now you're trying to get me to sign away my rights with a post-nup. I turned back to him. You really are your mother's son. My phone rang. Cassandra. Linda, you need to know something. Jacqueline's been hospitalized. Convenient timing, I replied, watching Max's desperate face. No, it's serious. Her assistant found her unconscious this morning. She left you a letter. I ended the call, meeting Max's questioning look. Your mother's in the hospital. He grabbed his keys, heading for the door, then paused. This isn't who you are, Linda. This vindictive person. You never knew who I was, Max. That was the problem. After he left, Ava came over with lunch and wine. Heard about Jacqueline. Think it's real? Does it matter? I opened the wine. She's played the victim card her whole life. My phone buzzed with a news alert. Tech CEO Linda Palmer, named to Fortune's 40 under 40 list. Remember when she called your company a cute hobby? Ava scrolled through the article. Now look who's making headlines. Another call. Otis this time. The FBI wants to move forward with charges against Marley. They found evidence of corporate espionage dating back months. Good. I took a long sip of wine. What about Max's involvement? Enough to end his career, if you want to pursue it. I thought about the past 12 years, about all the dinner parties where I'd smiled and nodded while Jacqueline belittled my dreams, about Max's constant dismissal of my work, about Marley's smug face at company events. Do it, I said. All of it. Later that evening, a courier delivered Jacqueline's letter. Her usually perfect handwriting was shaky. Linda, you've won. Completely. The company, my son's respect, everything I spent my life building. I hope it brings you peace. My doctors say the stress has accelerated my condition. I don't expect sympathy, but I want you to know, I understand now, what it feels like to be powerless. Jacqueline. Ava read it over my shoulder. Wow, an actual admission of defeat. And manipulation till the end, I added, but something in my chest tightened. My phone lit up with a text from Max. Mother's asking for you. Please come. Don't go, Ava warned. It's another trap. But I was already grabbing my keys. Not out of guilt or obligation, but because some things needed to be said face to face. The hospital corridor was quiet when I arrived. Max sat outside Jacqueline's room, head in his hands. She's awake, he said without looking up. And yes, it's real. Stage 4. She's known for months. I walked into the room. Jacqueline lay there, stripped of her designer clothes and perfect makeup, looking suddenly old and very small. Come to verify your victory? Her voice was weak, but still carried that familiar edge. No. I sat beside her bed. I came to tell you that you were right about one thing. I did change, but not because of success or money. Oh? She turned her head slightly. I changed because you showed me exactly what kind of person I didn't want to become. Someone who measures love in control. Someone who destroys others to feel powerful. She closed her eyes. And yet here we are. You've destroyed me quite thoroughly. No, Jacqueline, you destroyed yourself. I just refused to be collateral damage. I stood to leave, but her voice stopped me. The company, will you protect it? Better than you did, I promised, and walked out, leaving both mother and son to face the consequences of their choices. Some victories, I realized, taste more like ashes than champagne. I want a divorce. The words hung in Max's corner office, where floor-to-ceiling windows offered a perfect view of the city we'd both fought so hard to conquer. He didn't look surprised. 2 weeks had passed since Jacqueline's hospitalization, and the empire she'd built was crumbling faster than her health. The FBI interviewed Marley this morning, I continued, placing a manila envelope on his desk. She told them everything. Linda, don't. I held up my hand. Just sign the papers. He opened the envelope, scanning the divorce agreement. You're not asking for alimony. I make more than you now, remember? His jaw tightened. And the house? Keep it. I bought something else. I pulled out my phone, showing him the listing for a modern cottage outside the city. Away from all of this. Running away? A hint of his mother's sneer crossed his face. That's not like you. No, Max. I'm choosing peace. Something your mother never understood. My phone buzzed. Isaias. Reuters wants an exclusive on the new carbon capture rollout. Also, FBI's here again. You know, Max said, watching me text back. I did love you. In my way. Your way was the problem. I met his eyes. Your way meant I had to be smaller so you could feel bigger. He started signing the papers, his Mont Blanc pen scratching against each page. And Mother? Will you keep destroying her while she's dying? She's being investigated for corporate fraud, Max. That's not destruction. That's consequence. A knock at the door interrupted us. Marley stood there, mascara streaked down her face. They're arresting me tomorrow. I told you to stay away, Max hissed. Why should I? She stormed in. Your wife already ruined everything. Did you know they're freezing my accounts? All because you promised we could... That's enough. I stood. The FBI has your emails, Marley. The ones where you detailed how you'd steal my company's technology, how you and Jacqueline planned to sell it to competitors. We were going to share the profits, she spat at Max. Tell her. But Max just kept signing papers, his hands shaking slightly. You know what's interesting? I walked to the window. Everyone thought I was getting revenge, but all I did was stop hiding the truth. You all did the rest yourselves. My phone buzzed again. Ava. Jacqueline's asking for you. Says it's important. Keep the house, Max. I gathered the signed papers. Keep the memories of who you pretended to be. I'm keeping my freedom. Linda, he called as I reached the door. Was any of it real? Yes, I said softly. Until your mother taught you to see me as competition instead of partner. The hospital was quiet when I arrived. Jacqueline looked worse, her designer pajamas hanging loose on her shrinking frame. The board voted, she said without preamble. They're removing Max as partner. I know. Because of the FBI investigation. Yes, she closed her eyes. All those years, I thought I was protecting him, making him stronger. You were making him dependent, I corrected. There's a difference. And you? Her eyes opened, surprisingly clear. What were you doing all those years, playing the quiet wife while building your empire? Surviving. Until I could thrive. She nodded slowly. I underestimated you. We all did. That was your choice. And now, what will you do with all this power? I stood, straightening my jacket. Something you never did, Jacqueline. I'll use it to build, not break. My phone lit up. Otis. FBI's closing in. They'll arrest Marley tonight. Max is named as co-conspirator. They're arresting your son tomorrow, I told her. Corporate espionage, conspiracy, fraud. The evidence is overwhelming. She didn't look surprised. Will you help him? No. A single tear rolled down her cheek. I taught him everything he knows. Except integrity, I added quietly. That's why he's falling now. I left her there, surrounded by beeping machines and wilting flowers. Outside, reporters were gathering, hungry for more details about the Lynch Industries scandal. But I didn't stop. I walked straight to my car, where Ava waited. Ready? She asked. I looked back at the hospital one last time. You know what the biggest revenge is, Ava? What's that? Living well. I started the engine. Let's go home. As we drove away, my phone buzzed with news alerts about Marley's arrest, about Max's impending charges, about Lynch Industries restructuring. I turned it off. Some victories don't need to be watched. They just need to be lived. The autumn wind whipped around me as I stood in front of the Morrison building one last time. The luxury condo that had started it all, Jacqueline's attempted power play, turned catalyst for her downfall. The women's shelter is thrilled, Ava said, handling the paperwork. A downtown property like this will help so many families rebuild their lives. Fitting, I smiled, thinking of all the times I'd felt trapped in my own life. From power play to empowerment. My phone buzzed. Isaias, turn on the news, now. We huddled over my phone to watch the breaking story. Former executive Max arrested on corporate espionage charges. Sources say his assistant, Marley, has agreed to testify against both him and his mother, Jacqueline, in exchange for a reduced sentence. Karma really is a closing statement, Ava mused. The building's lobby was quiet as we took the elevator up. I'd never actually lived in the condo. That wasn't the point. It had served its purpose as the first domino in a chain reaction that exposed decades of manipulation and lies. Ms. Palmer? The shelter's director met us at the penthouse door. We can't thank you enough. This location will help us protect so many women starting over. Starting over, I repeated, running my hand along the marble countertop. That's what it's all about, isn't it? My phone rang. Cassandra. Linda, Jacqueline passed away this morning. I sat down on the window seat, watching the city below. How? Peacefully, they say. She left you a letter and a confession. Full admission of everything. The corporate fraud, the manipulation, even Max's involvement in the technology theft attempt. She chose truth in the end, I said quietly. Her last act of control, Cassandra corrected, making sure the story was told her way. After hanging up, I handed the condo keys to the shelter director. Make it count, I said. Make it matter. Outside, reporters were gathering. News of Jacqueline's death had broken. My phone exploded with messages. Board members, investors, journalists. I ignored them all. Linda Palmer! A reporter spotted me leaving the building. Any comment on Jacqueline's death? On Max's arrest? I stopped, facing the growing crowd. Yes. I have one comment. Success isn't about destroying others. It's about refusing to let others destroy you. Back at my cottage outside the city, Otis waited with a familiar envelope. Jacqueline's last letter. Want me to stay while you read it? No. I took it to my garden, where autumn flowers still bloomed despite the chill. Dear Linda, by now you've received my confession. Not for your forgiveness, we're both beyond that, but for the record. You were right. I measured love in control, success in dominance. I created my son in my image, and in doing so, destroyed him. You did what I never could. Built something real, something that helps others. The company is yours now, along with my shares. My final request, don't let my mistakes poison its future. You won by choosing integrity over power. I never understood that strength until it defeated me. Jacqueline. Ava found me still sitting in the garden. You okay? Better than okay. I stood, brushing off my slacks. I'm free. My phone lit up. Isaias again. EPA approved our technology. We're going global. What now? Ava asked, reading over my shoulder. I smiled, thinking of the women who would find sanctuary in that downtown condo, of the clean energy technology that would help heal the planet, of the truth that had finally set everyone free, even if some had to be dragged to it. Now? I walked inside to where my laptop showed the latest headlines about Lynch Industries' transformation under my leadership. about Max's downfall and Marley's plea deal, about Jacqueline's death and confession. Now we build something better. My phone buzzed one last time, a message from Max's prison email. I understand now. What Mother and I did to you. What we did to ourselves. I'm sorry. I didn't respond. Some chapters don't need a reply to be finished. Instead, I opened my company's latest project files. Plans for sustainable housing, renewable energy initiatives, and corporate reform programs. Real change, built on integrity instead of power plays. They all thought they were playing chess, but I wasn't a piece on their board. I was the hand that flipped it, not for revenge, but for reconstruction. And now, in the quiet of my garden, surrounded by the empire I'd built on truth instead of manipulation, I finally felt complete. Not because I'd won, but because I'd won without becoming what they were. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's revival.